You don't have to.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So I am going live today. My camera is not great, so I'm not trying to put my camera up, but I want to go live today with just a uh, just a you know Monday chart watching session. I don't even really think I'll take a trade today. If I see something, then I'll take it, but today is not my day that I want to trade. And I'm trying to share this link right now to the chat. So if you guys probably won't see this um, until later. So let me get out of that. Let me drop this in Telegram. Live. Okay, cool. So everybody should be live now. We should get some people jumping in. Tradeovate is down this morning. If that's not good. Can y'all hear me? If y'all can hear me, put some, just put a comment in the chat so I know, because obviously my camera's not on. So just let me know that y'all can hear me at least. Let me do this. If you hear something, say something. Let's see. Okay, cool. All right. All right, so what I want to do is obviously I'm just gonna have a chart watching session. Mondays are not my day to trade really, and especially this week where there's not a lot of news going on. So maybe I'll demo trade at best. Maybe I'll take a position on a challenge that I don't have done yet. I think all these are done. Yeah, done. These are all personals. So yeah, I mean, right now, Narita, and I guess whoever else is a student on here, this is going to be our counter trend day, right? Ideally, we want to see this end, this day go bearish. Because if we think about the weekly cycle, this is what we should be expecting. So again, I'm not going to be trading this, but ideally I would want to see the day go bearish, or at least the morning session. So if we think about our kind of setup, I mean, this is actually something I probably would take right there. Let's see what this risk would be. This is a very late move. So let's see what my risk would be. My stop loss would go off here. Where would I look to exit? Yeah, this was actually what I probably would have taken to go short. Obviously, the reminder, this is not trading advice. It's just my views on the market. I'm coming to the terminal a little bit later than I would have wanted to. Obviously, I would have wanted to be on during the market open about 20 minutes ago. I was looking for targets. I probably would be aiming here. Narita, you could probably see why I'm looking at these two lows specifically. But let's see. If we get, where my entry would have been? My entry actually would have been here. And it would have been up there. There's two of them right there. Two big ones, or a big one and a small one. If I go to the 2 minute, it looks like we probably respected consequent encroachment. So I'm actually going to watch this on the 2 minute chart to see how we respect levels. Apologize if y'all hear a dog in the background. This is I'm dog sitting, so really want to see how the market is going to respect this 2 minute consequent encroachment right here. But we have a lot of elements of our setup. If I go to the 15-minute time frame, sorry, 30 window, see how we ran our high. That's the most important thing that I'll be watching. If I'm expecting a short day, I'm going to want to see this high get ran, right? We can take out the low for sure. And this is not the low of the day, but that's the 830 low. I think, actually, that is the low of the day. It's not. Never mind. Let me take Sunday is yesterday. So that would be technically our low of the day is here. So on Sundays, technically this Monday trading day, the market's going to open up at it's going to open up at 5 o'clock, right? So technically our low for Monday, or low of the day coming into Monday, is technically the Sunday low price. So again, another reason why I don't trade counter trend, I try not to trade counter trend. I've been taking a few of them lately. It's just, there's always a chance that the market could just run up. I mean, there's always a chance in any situation, any day, but there's always a chance the market could just run up and run higher and keep going on. And it might start off, for a counter trend week or something like that. So I try to put myself in position to get the best chunk of the weekly move. And if we're expecting bullishness for the week, then that means at some point, when the weekly candle ends on Friday, right? If we're expecting it to be bullish, then the candle, there should be more bullish opportunities than bearish opportunities in the week. So I never will stop anybody for trying to trade a counter trend setup, but I won't. I usually don't. I try not to. They have to look really, really good for me to want to take them. So a couple things. So juggling time frames. We're looking at this 2 minute. Oops, this 2 minute imbalance is smaller. The 2 minute is here. We're closing above it, above CE. So that kind of means that it might not hold. As far as the 1 minute imbalance, we are trading a little bit. We're still inside of that. If we look a little higher, we're respecting consequent encroachment of this one gap. So there's a lot of juggling of time frames to kind of figure out which one is the one that you're going to be looking for. So usually if a fair value gap doesn't hold, then the first thing I do is go a little bit higher in the time frame to see if we are holding. Again, we're respecting this. Let's see. This is my personal account right now for Apex. I have a few of them. Obviously, all these are either passed and paid for. They're like the PAs are personal accounts, and the Apex ones are challenges that I passed. So I think it's we're like 17 total, 18, something like that. But this one in particular, I'm up 8,000 on. I just need this to get this to 9,000 and I'll be eligible for my payout. My first trade on there was those $3,000 trades that I took like a month ago. And because of that, Apex is a 30% rule, meaning that your days can only be 30% one individual day can only be at max 30% of your overall payout. So with that being said, I have to make sure that I make at least $9,000 because one of my days was $3,000. So I didn't know that going into it, or else I would have tried to. I didn't even know that I was taking it on a personal account, to be honest. Here's what we'll do. I'm gonna switch this over to the micros. Same thing. And I'll put one micro contract on this. We'll see how we play this out. Trade. I'm only doing this really because I just need to make a little bit more to be eligible for my payout. And I would love to do this on live. This micro. So stop loss would be 20,000. Let's call it, let's just say 20,658. 8. Oh, why is that? That risk is all the way off. Why is that risk so high? 20,658. 0.00. I'm not gonna take that. Something's not right here. It's saying that I'm risking $10,000. That's all the way off. Let me try this again. Go 20,658. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, somebody said Tradevate was down earlier. That might have something to do with it. Because this risk is not lining up with how much it should be under $100 risk. Like it should be like $200. So I don't know what's going on with Tradevate or TradingView, but I'm not going to take that because I don't know what it might do. It might accidentally clock me in for a way bigger lot size than I want to see. So whatever. Anyway, so ideally, I want to see this run bearish. If I had another challenge, I would take it for you guys just to kind of show you. But everything on here is, yeah, it's passed already. Yeah, so whatever. So what I want to draw attention to is this. Respecting consequent encroachment. Also, I can see that, right? We understand what that means. So there's a lot of cases here building the idea that we're going to go short here today. If I overlay this 2-minute fair value gap in front of this, you can see we traded up through the top end of this, respected it, came back down, and now we're trying to see if we stay ahead of the 2-minute consequent encroachment. There's a lot of stuff here that lines up in price that you don't really notice. And I mean, the fun thing about trading is that even if you think you're 100% going to be right, you might have been wrong. So we'll see what happens. Justin Dixon said tops. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, tops in the morning. My bad. Yeah, no, you're right. I was like tops. What are we talking about? I'm up here thinking you talking about double tops or double bottoms or like I'm like I don't know what you're talking about. I got you. So so overall too. So going back to the weekend, I don't know if y'all can see my screen. If I switch it, let's see. So overall, this is what I did on the Saturday call. If you guys are on the Saturday call, this is what I said I wanted to see happen, right? Um, I wanted to see the market really run lower a little bit and then go off higher. Obviously, we had a gap in the market. I told my mentorship group that I mean, due to the events, the political events that happened over the weekend with a uh, former former president, that we might see a gap in the market. Um, so I figured, we might jump up a little bit. We did actually. We jumped up about eh, like 70 points to start the week off, which is not as big as I thought it was going to be. Um, so that kind of threw things off a little bit. This week also could be a very volatile week too, because we have national conventions, right? Political national conventions. And so these things really don't matter, right? In terms of the grand scheme of price. Um, they don't like obviously like who a certain person chooses to be their running mate shouldn't affect the markets, right? Or like it has nothing to do with how a stock's price should go up and down. Like those things should be independent, or an index's price should go up and down. But what we know is that the market is controlled, and the people that control the markets um, will use any opportunity to really, really move price in the way that they see fit. So again, the one reason why I don't like trading on Mondays is because, well, trading on Mondays in certain weeks, I guess. There's certain weeks where I'm cool to trade on Mondays. There's certain weeks where I won't. But this is one of the weeks that I don't really want to trade on Mondays. And the reason for that is, again, I don't like trading against the trend. And then two, um, I don't want to, I want to give myself the best, position of the weekly market. And then three, really just kind of sitting out Mondays kind of gives you the overall lay of the land. And so a lot of the times when I'm doing those calls on Saturday, um, I'm using Monday to see if the first part of my analysis is correct for the week. And so it kind of gives me like a playing field, you know what I mean? Like the playing stage is set. And so that way I can kind of evaluate like moving for the rest of the week. Um, are we going to do what I think we're going to do? And to be honest with you, like, to be completely honest, like, I'm only looking to trade maybe once or twice a week. So I don't try to rush it because I know the better opportunities are usually going to come at the end of the week when we figure out like the weekly direction. And so each week is fun. I mean, this is the fun part of trading to me, because it's like your job is to predict where the market's going to go for that next week. Um, and it's just basically like a big puzzle. The market's going to give you a bunch of context clues about like what you think, what it's going to do, and it's your job to put them together and hopefully be right, right? And so even if you put them together, sometimes you can be wrong on the trend for the week or the trend for the day or hour or whatever. And that's the fun part about trading is that when you get it right, you're good. When you get it wrong, if you protect yourself, yeah, you get stung a little bit, but it's like the best video game in the world, right? So you just got to pay attention to the rules and mind the rules of the game. What time is it? This is a 15-minute chart. I'll be somewhat, again, I still think we're going to go bearish for the day. I will be more comfortable with a bearish trend if we close this 15-minute candle here. Just going to make this see. If we close our candle here, then I'll be more comfortable going short. And I don't think we're going to get that. Also, for my actual students, Narita, who else is in here? I think Narita's the only one I see. If there's other students on here, cool. This, for the setup that I give you guys, see how we ran both buy side and sell side, right? So we took out the high, we took out the low. If you feel uncomfortable, if you see this in the most perfect setups, we'll only run one level of buy side or sell side before we take off and go in the direction for the day. These days like this, where we run buy side and we run sell side in the same session, can be sometimes confusing. And if you ever see those, feel free to just don't trade that day, right? It's okay. In theory, the best setup that you're ever going to take in trading is the clearest setup to you, right? We come down, we run one level, one or the other, and usually not both. Get rid of this. So if you find that confusing when you're actually trading, then don't feel like you don't have to take the trade. Like putting this in perspective, I think in the month of July, in the last month, I might have only taken, like, I'm gonna look how many days I actually traded last month. So in the month of June, I traded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days out of 20 something trading days. In the month of July, if I refresh this, the month of July, I only traded 2 days so far on this one account. I passed a couple challenges on a different account, so I'd say like 3 days this month. So we're already in the 15th, halfway through the month, that I've only really traded 3 times. You guys don't have to take a lot of trades a month to be successful, right? You just have to know what you're looking for and execute when you're looking for. So this today, yeah, this would not have been a clean or clear day. And I'm still looking to see where we close in this candle. But ideally, again, I will want today to be a bearish day to end bearish, right? At some level. And if we don't, then it's going to really kind of make me evaluate what I think the trend is going to be for the week. And kind of just make sure that I'm still, the market's still flowing to the idea. I don't think we'll go this low. And since we gapped up to start the week off, I'll go back to the daily. I wanted to see this. I wanted to see us come down and touch this. I don't think we'll go that low now because we opened up here. So if I had to redo this, I would love to see the market come back down and retest. Well, we retested consequent encroachment. So we opened here and went down here. I would love the market to come back down and at least retouch consequent encroachment of this gap or the top end of that fair value gap, depending on where we close for the day. So other things I'm considering on the higher time frames. Is get rid of this, the CE of this wick right here. So there's kind of like a CE of this daily wick. So how are we respecting that? And that's gonna let us know again too, like, what the market's gonna be for the day or for the week too. So if we close the day below this, then I would expect us to kind of run back down here, retest before we go higher. So there's just a lot of things that I'm considering. It's the same fundamental things over and over again. And especially when we get down to actually executing trades, it's the same thing. But I'm just looking at the same numbers at the same levels over and over and over again. It's just the way it looks is a little different each time. So I genuinely don't think there'll be a trade today. But we'll see. So again, I'm really just using Mondays to see where the week ends up and how it lays out for the week, how price lays out for the week. And so there's not really anything to write home about here. If you guys have any questions at all, I mean, this is probably, since I probably won't take a trade today, this will probably be the best time that you guys can use to ask me questions during the week, because this will probably be one of the least like stressful sessions that I'll do. So again, this is all for educational advice. This is not trading advice. I'm doing this to document a few things. I told everybody that I start going live to document me actually doing this for real, and what being a trader looks like every day. And then and the fact that I hate when people try to sell courses or do stuff like that. And I'm not even really doing this to sell a course, but they try to tell the world that they're this amazing trader, and they are really just trying to sell a course, and they can't really trade. So I could really do this. Um, I'd like to think that I'm one of the best futures traders, and definitely one of the most open and transparent when it comes to this trading space. So and you guys will see over time. Over time, these wins that I'm having will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and my students, oops, my students will kind of be hopefully doing the same thing, and a lot of them are starting to get it. Sometimes the move doesn't happen at the level you want to see it happen. And remember, for my students at every level, we're creating a level of buy side every high, right? So, a lot of people could have jammed their stops there. And that's why we just ran that level. What I'd be interested to see is what happens here and how we respect this gap right here. If you jump down to the 1 minute time frame, getting relative equal highs above a fair value gap. So I'm very curious, very eager to see what happens if we come back down here. Yeah. Well, probably this might be a bullish session. Really interested to see what's going on. So it's like a level of consolidation. Would you consider this chop this point in the morning? No. So Sheila said, would you consider this chop? I would not. I think the reason that I don't consider this chop is that chop will usually range in between a high and a low. So like, I'll go back to this. So if we were gonna chop this morning, we probably would have did something like this, where chop is just us kind of just Just coming back to this high, going back to this, and all we're doing is just kind of nicking off liquidity on each side. So like if you ever see a consolidation zone, a lot of times what's happening here is you'll see price kind of range back and forth like this, but each time the market will just run for that level of buy side, then run for that level of sell side, nick it, and then go back in the other direction. It's basically just chopping up the traders that are in this. In this case, I wouldn't consider this chop because we really haven't had multiple swings. I would say we came up here, ran buy side, came down here, ran sell side, and then we're taking off. This might just be a bullish session. Um, so I would consider something like this to be chop, like on the 1 minute time frame. This would be chop. So like you see how we have a high here, we have a low here. And we're really just trading back and forth in that range. So anytime you see consolidation, that would be chop. This overall like 15-minute time frame, I would not consider that chop because we have a very clear. We ran up here once, we came down here, and then we took off. So I would consider something like this chop, but the other screen I was at, no. How soon does off the price off and go to fill gaps? I mean, dude, it's that's the fun part is that it can range that you never really know. And I think a lot of times traders like the market does the same stuff over and over and over again. And the problem is the timing on which it does it changes. So like there's going to be days where price will run straight to these targets and then they'll hit them in like a day, right? And there's other days where it might take the whole week or 2 weeks for price to get to those targets depending on the time frame that you're looking at. And so that's why people have a hard time seeing what the market does over and over and over again because the timing in which it does it is different. And also people have money on the line. Like when you have when anytime you've traded before, because I guarantee you everybody does the same thing. Like people learn about trading, they might learn a strategy, they practice that strategy for like a month. The whole time they're on YouTube and Instagram and watching everybody make thousands of dollars. So they rush the process and they probably start trading within the first month or two of demoing or, finding out about the markets. And so what happens then is they rush into trades. They don't really fully understand what's going on with the market and how the market even books price. And they blow everything because they're so focused on the money going up and down their P&L than actually looking at what the market's doing, um, and how it's running for certain levels over and over and over again and what those levels represent. Um, so to answer your question, it's it takes all it varies. And that's the fun part about trading because you never really know how long it's going to take. There's some days I come to the terminal, I see my setup, and it gives me everything I need and want in like 10 minutes. Like I'll watch, my setup happen and I'm in and out of the market in 10 minutes. There's some days where I'm in the market for an hour plus, 2 hours plus. There's some days where I'm holding trades throughout the day because it hasn't quite hit my target yet. So like it really varies. And there's really no answer for that. And that's the part where you have to make sure that your schedule is cleared out when you're trading, or you have to have enough time to do this. So but I would honestly consider I would honestly consider this morning session, depending on what we do here, this overall arching thing might all be chop. We'll see. Because if it starts doing this like this, um, it starts doing that, then I would consider a chop. But as of right now, we're bullish, but we're also not really going higher either. I'm looking at. I had this drawn out. I think I wanted to see consequent encroachment of this wicks. They probably stay below that. Um, okay, so I mean, now that we're staying above it, kind of lends me to the idea that we probably would go bullish, but which is kind of what I said a few minutes ago. But other than that, I mean, I'm not really trying. Just again, today's not a trading day, um, and I'm happy that the trade of eight thing didn't look right when I was trading when I was about to hit the button because it takes you away from your strategy. Which again, like having a strategy like I've been doing this for 10 years and there's still times where I like disregard my strategy, right? And I realize that I win the best when I stick to my rules, right? So it's not something that ever goes away. So if you hear all these conversations about risk management and like people doing their their staying stick to your rules, and do you think they've just kind of mastered that? It's a lie. They never really master. You never master your emotions completely. You always have the urge to do something you're not supposed to be doing. Otherwise, we would just be robots, right? So it's always there. I'm 10 years in, and I've just noticed like I win more when I stick to my rules. So let me do my best to stick to them. But there's still moments where I do dumb stuff. It happens a lot. And over time, you just want to be able to minimize the amount of dumb stuff you do as a trader. You never really can eliminate it, but you just try to minimize it. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything that I want to participate in today. or at least during the session. So I might come back during the it was 10:30. I'll probably give it like 20 more minutes. But I might come back during PM session, which starts at about 1 o'clock, or I probably just will stop. Yeah, I think this morning session will go bullish. Um, and so days like this, when we have a bullish morning session on a day that we expected a bearish day or session, there's a couple things that I'll be watching. I want to see if PM brings us back down because I'm always looking at things from the daily perspective. Um, I want to see if we respect again consequent encroachment of this gap. I'm sorry, consequent encroachment of this wick right here. Seeing if the market closes under that, because just because we're trading up higher now does not necessarily mean that we're going to stay there for the day. I also want to see if we come back down and retest this zone again. I don't think we'll go lower. First, I wanted to see again the market really trade back down here, but because of the way that we gapped up in the week to start the week, I don't think, because I'm still bullish overall. I'm really just looking to see where the low of the week is going to be at for this week. I don't think that we'll come back down here, all the way down here for the week. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. At worst, I think we could maybe come back down to consequent encroachment and sweep liquidity and go higher. But I think that I'll be looking to see how we react to these two levels here. This top of this fair value gap at 20,573 and consequent encroachment, and seeing if between now and then we get a retest down there. But we already broke out of this gap and came back down and retested it. So those two levels are where I'll be looking. I just want to see if there's any other thing else. Yeah. I think that'll be the levels that I'm watching. See if we get a play back to those two. Um, I think this very well could be the low of the week right here. But I could also see a world where we do this, right? We come back down here and then go higher. Either way, I'm still very much bullish on the week. I'm not entirely sure that this is the low of the week, or the low of the day, which will inevitably be the low of the week. I think we might come back down one more time. So that's what I'll be watching for. And who knows, this could be higher time frame chop, or we're just chopping back and forth right in here. I'm not really sure yet. So I don't really want to like project too much of my views in the market, especially on a day that I'm not supposed to really be trading anyway. So yeah. But ideally, I still would love the market if we came back down here. It doesn't have to be as low as I thought it was, but somewhere around there to go higher. So we're actually almost on our way to the low, the primary target. And some days, some weeks when you're trading, this is just going to happen, right? It's going to come down, form the low. It's going to run to your target, and you're not going to have an opportunity to trade, right? And that happens. And if this is one of those weeks, then cool. You just close your laptop and you go about your business, right? Um, like I said, the bulk of my trading last month. If I go back and look at my TradeZilla sheet, the bulk of my trading, I made. Yeah, if I'm looking at June and that $9,000 account that I'm sitting at right now, or just under 9,000, the bulk of my trades were actually in the last week of the month. So, um, going into the month, going into the 20th on June, I was only up $500 for the month on that account. And then the next day on the 20th, I made 1.1. And the next day on Monday, I made 1,000. I made another 1,000 the next day. Um, So there was like three grand that happened last week of the month, about over the last week, and then another 2,000 and that happened Thursday, Friday of last week. So it's like you're not gonna all your trading is not gonna be happening, you know, in that day, it's not gonna be a consistent everyday thing. You step to the terminal and you make money every day. This is not a job, so. Um, yeah. So hopefully you guys kind of understand that by now, that a lot of this is just waiting, and you're waiting for the best possible setup to do your thing. And it might not happen in the day that you're watching. So don't blow your account on a day. Yeah, Sheila. Like I said, this is gonna be it's just a marathon. And I think like I tell everybody, like the game is not to come to the terminal and make $500 every day or $400 every day. That's not the game. The game is to put yourself in a position to make the right trades when they occur and build your accounts up over time. So for instance, right? So like if I show y'all, I'm gonna take this off of actually I'm just gonna go show you what I was looking at on my TradeZilla account. Um, this is what I was talking about, right? So this is just one account, right? This is um, one of the 16 accounts that I have with Apex, right? And I'm not showing you guys this to brag, but just to be transparent, right? So if you look at, since May 20th, and really not even trading most of these days. The June, I was a little bit more frequent. In July, I've only really taken 2 trades on this account in almost 10 or 12 trading days, right? So imagine what happens when this one account gets hooked up to the other 16 accounts. And so what you saw here that was made in 2 months times this by 16, right? And so that's the power of compounding over time instead of um instead of trying to do it all in one day. Oops, can y'all see? Okay, I don't think y'all can see. Oh, it my bad, it didn't cut over. Um Let me do this instead. Present, share screen, dashboard. There we go. So this is what I was talking about a second ago. Sorry. Like, so on one day or on one account, right? So, when you can put yourself in a position where you can stack up and build multiple accounts, um, what you can do with one account, it's not as important, right? So you have again, and this is obviously something that I can't promise that you'll make this, right? This is just my personal results. And I'll never say that you guys can 100% like do what I do because it takes a lot and it takes there's a lot of things I'm juggling, and I can't promise any financial results, but this is just me being transparent with what I did. So on one of these accounts, obviously $9,000. Now you take that 9,000 times it by 16, and that's $144,000 in 2 months, right? If all these accounts were hooked up together and I was taking the same trades in all of them, which is eventually the goal. So when you when you when you are trading or trying to become a trader, your goal should not be trying to make as much money on one account as possible. It should be to make a little bit of money on a lot of accounts. And over time, that little bit on a lot of accounts will, compound, and you'll be making, hopefully, potentially be making, you know, enough to live on. So that's what I want for everybody that is one of my students, to be able to put themselves in the position to do that. Obviously, again, it's not financial advice, and I can't promise that you'll make money. Um, but that's the goal for like when I trade personally in my long term goals. So um, a little bit on a lot of accounts, right? Now, what would you do if you made 144 grand in 2 months? Then you might even be done with your year. So that's the power of prop firms, it's the power of scaling and getting as much capital as possible. Same trades I've been taking, right? But obviously have a way bigger result. So yeah, with that being said, um, I think the market's gonna go higher. But I am about to log off here, so I'm gonna call it a day. And it looks like we are going higher for the day. This was our first primary target for the week. It was this high right here. Which is Friday's high. So I want to see how we react to that, but it looks like we're heading to that. So it'll be interesting to see where the week closes because again, the PM session can come in and we could run for this high right here, and then we could just tank and close right here, and it's a bearish day. So that's kind of why you always take you take the PM session or the AM session with a grain of salt because it's not going to be indicative of the overall day. Because again, we could have market crash, or we could have the market just fall over once it takes out that first high or something. And then the overall day is bearish because we closed here. So I'm just looking to see what's happening on the bigger time frames on Monday and using that as an opportunity to see like where we're going for the week. So I wouldn't even be surprised if we came back down one more time on the daily and retested that. So I think everything's kind of playing out to where I want to see it. It's just it's a patience game. So um yeah. So all right, y'all. I'm gonna actually end this call a little bit earlier. And see if we can get something in the PM session or get something going tomorrow. So I might be back on later on today, or I'll probably just do something tomorrow. And then if I have the opportunity, then I'll go live. So um, yeah. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Hit me in the chat and go from there. Peace.